All right, so I want to show y'all on this John Deere Z445 zero-turn mower. This is the model number of this, just so you can kind of compare yours to this one. This customer, he had a fuse. If you look in there, you can see it's burnt. The fuse would never burn or blow, but it would melt. The whole housing of the fuse would melt. Okay, so that one was acting up, and then this fuse was really loose. This one kept burning, but he also had an issue with this mower that he would be running, cutting his grass, everything's running fine, and all of a sudden it would just shut off and wouldn't run anymore. He had to leave it sitting a while, then he could get it to crank. But what was actually happening, so this first fuse here was working, the fuel solenoid on the bottom of the carburetor. It's a Kawasaki engine, and what was happening is this thing was running and cutting grass. This fuse would heat up, shake, come loose, and it would make that solenoid actually shut off, and it would lose its power going to it, and that's why the engine was cutting off. When I got this mower, I thought there was carburetor trouble. I took the carburetor off, everything was clean, and it was dry. I was like, okay, there's no fuel in there, so something's not letting fuel even get to the carburetor. It was that solenoid, because this fuse was actually shaking back and forth until it was coming loose. And then this fuse ran your PTO, turning the blades on and off. So when it would melt that fuse, or melt the housing, and that fuse would fall out. Let me see if I have one of the pieces of the fuses that you can see. Yep, here's one. You can see how it melted this one. Then the blades would turn off. So what I did, this little fuse panel was expensive. So I just took the fuse panel off, went to the back of the fuse panel, and I used 2 of these inline fuses like this. One's 30 amp, one's 15 amp, just like John Deere had from the factory. But I went to the back of the fuse panel, and cut the wires going into this little plastic holder and just wire these in place. And I used shrink wrap. And what I did to keep these 2 separated, you know, I took one up in this little hole. There's nothing in there that it's going to hurt. And then this one, I taped it back to the battery lead. So everything is working again. Fuel solenoid's working. PTO switch is working. Blades are working. But that's all it was loose connections in here making this fuse melt, this one come loose. So you turn the switch on, I don't know if you could hear, but the fuel solenoid came on, and then I pulled the PTO switch, you can hear it. Let's see if I can get maybe you can hear the one clicking at the carburetor down here if the camera's a little closer. I don't know if you can hear that, but just to show you that it does work. Let me see you may be able to hear it a little better here. Let me get the camera down. You can barely hear it. That was the solution on this mower. So if you have a John Deere Z445, having electrical problems might be the fix for yours as well.